Welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course from New Earth One Network. This is designed exclusively for your higher self connection and embodiment. Welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course. We are here with Tom Moore, author of The Gentle Way books and First Contact with ET, and really amazing author. But we are excited to talk about Atlantis and Lemuria. Truly two ancient times that resonate so deeply with many of us here. We're really looking forward to this introduction of a greater course that Tom will be teaching. Let's welcome Tom to this course. Hi, Tom. Thank you for joining us.
Sure. Thank you for having me. And hello to everyone that's going to be watching this.
Yes. So this is quite fascinating. I'm going to let you basically share some information, and I'll be here asking some questions. But this world of Lemuria and Atlantis, more people seem to know about Atlantis than Lemuria. Mm-hmm. And Lemuria is becoming more of a past life memory for people. They're recalling these memories. So as you present information about Lemuria and Atlantis, tell us where this information comes from in your research and beingness.
Okay. So I have to explain that I became a telepath in about 2005. And since that time, I've asked about 30,000 questions in a meditative state. All right. So most of those questions came to me from my readers of my weekly newsletter, which is free. And so out of those 30,000 questions, perhaps maybe only 10% would be my questions, and all the rest are questions that were sent to me from people from all over the world. I'm told that I'm the only person in the world that takes questions from anybody and everybody, and asks these questions in these meditative sessions. So that's sort of how it's done. Regarding Atlantis and Lemuria, both of these continents actually existed, and for a long time, the people that existed on these continents have had lives during Atlantean times and during Lemurian times, and slowly but surely people are sort of remembering those lives. I was told that I had 180 lives during Atlantean times and 65 during Lemurian times, and that was why. And I'd had more lives than any other person on Earth on those two continents and worlds, whatever. And that's why I should write the book, I was told. And I asked, why so few on Lemuria? And I was told that Lemuria was a much more peaceful place to live for thousands and thousands of years. And only in the last 1,000 years of its existence did they start warring and everything. So that's why I didn't need as many lives on Lemuria as I did in Atlantis, simply because everything was so peaceful, so idyllic. And it was a shame that it didn't last that way. Only in the last 1,000 years did they grow more warlike, increasingly warlike, and that's what eventually destroyed them.
So, do you believe or feel that your lifetimes were longer in Lemuria? Was it a longer lifetime?
No, no, just average lifetimes. But there was there weren't as many things to let's say uh, equal out, to balance, to have karma, if you will. And so I didn't need as many lives on Lemuria as I did Atlantis. Although my last life in Lemuria caused me to it was a really bad life, and caused me to have to balance 85 or 87 lives against that one. So I was a bad guy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So many folks who know about Lemuria do feel this peaceful vibration, this love frequency, a
Yes.
divine feminine, a feminine frequency. So, as you're saying, the last 1,000 years was a little more destructive, and the warring energy gets in there.
Hmm.
What do you know about the cause of that? Was that in conjunction with Atlantis, and
No,
that timeline, or it was separate?
no. Atlantis by that time um, had had destroyed themselves. Okay. So um, no, this was brought on because there were either 5 or 7 countries that occupied the um, the Lemurian continent, and they were divided sort of like Europe is today by rivers, mountains, that type of division. But but they started warring against each other, and it got really terribly bad by the end.
The Lemurians started warring against each other.
Yes, those countries.
Ah, the countries.
Yes.
Hmm.
So so they, they did it, brought it on themselves. Now, one of the things that was mentioned to me, one of the reasons for me to write the book, is that I was told that um, that people still have this subconscious memory of of destroying themselves on Atlantis, or during Atlantean times or Lemurian times. And so there's like this subconscious fear that we might do it again, because each of those places had free energy provided to them by ETs. And but they developed weapons of war from this free energy. So so they people are afraid that we'll do it again. And I was told that as of that harmonic convergence in 1987, that we reached a vibrational level where we will never um, destroy ourselves again. And even like the current war, of course, I realize this will last, this video recording will last forever, but I was told that this current war in Ukraine will be the last war in Europe ever, and that by the end of this century there will hardly be any wars anywhere in the world.
Well, it's about time.
Yes.
So fascinating. Okay. Um, this part is I believe different. What about this notion that Atlantis turned on Lemuria? Can you give us some insight on that based on what your information is? Because some would think that we let the laggards in.
Not what I receive.
Okay.
That um, and again, we're almost getting into that presentation, but I'll kind of touch on a couple of spots. The the continent of Atlantis basically sank due to a natural disaster. Okay, and we can get into that when we get into that presentation that I'll be making in August. And so that basically wiped out everything except for some islands. And but up until that time, now that this happened about 30,000 years ago, 31,000. Up until that time, they had conquered almost everything uh, in the Mediterranean basin, which didn't have as much water as it has today, for reasons that we'll get into. And so, but they had conquered all the way across, everyone except for the Africans, which were at that time, the continent was known as the land of Oz. And they were never able to conquer them. I had two lives in which I died as a soldier trying to conquer, send over to the land of Oz to try and conquer men, and we were wiped out each time. So so that was the first calamity that happened, was this natural disaster. And then and the oceans rose 160 feet, wiping out every single city, every single town, every single village that were on all the coasts of the world, not just Africa, Africa or whatever, but every single coastline, because it was like, if you could imagine that tsunami that hit Japan with 35 or 40-foot waves, these were 160 or perhaps higher, and it didn't go down. It stayed. So quite a, and it wiped out all the history that was written up until that time.
Yes, and there are stories and legends from this period, even in the Pacific today. There are even paintings of that great deluge, and very, very interesting.
Well, they had their
So
own deluge later,
they had,
when Lemuria destroyed itself.
so Lemuria destroyed itself. And this was after Atlantis.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
What do
Lemuria
you,
was 7,500 years ago,
7,500 years ago? Okay.
which is why, again, when the continent sank in the water displacement, why again the seas rose this time 172 feet. So, and we missed one in the middle that we'll get into. They'll have to find out about that one, which contains the story of Noah, and that happened in between the 31,000 and the 7,500.
Ah, the story of Noah. Yes, and that
Yeah,
great
which
deluge.
actually happened,
Yes,
except
interesting.
that he didn't have any wild animals.
Except he what?
He did not have any wild animals. That was thrown in over the few thousand years after that, because the story was that the whole world was underwater, and it wasn't.
Hmm.
Only 41 feet.
Okay. All right. So when you ask these questions and your guides through telepathy give you this information,
Mhm.
what do you think that we are supposed to do with it? Again, we hear a lot of people who resonate with Lemuria and Atlantis and still feel a deep guilt, remorse for the fall of both of those
Mhm.
civilizations. What's your take on how we heal from this within our own selves? And is there anything to heal on our planet?
Well, we can send light and love to the planet every single day. I mean, every single morning I say, excuse me, I say I send white light and love to every single continent, every single island, all the rivers, lakes, and streams, all the oceans and seas of the world, and I release this white light to go where it's needed the most, to light up the darkest corners of the planet. So there's no more darkness, only light, and no more secrets. And I say that every single morning. And I'm told that this acts as a prayer for the earth, and that the more thousands and thousands of people that we have saying that and sending light to the world, the higher our vibrations will raise.
Yes, that is service. And I know that many here who are watching and listening are right there with you. And that warms my heart. And it's beautiful. I really believe that this is part of why we all reincarnated here, is that we can share this love and amplify this love
Yeah.
and shift it into love. So on the soul's journey, what have you learned is the soul's journey in all of this? What's the point?
Oh, well, I mean, that's a really deep subject. It really is, because and this is something that people still almost no one understands. All right, but the creator of our universe decided that it wanted to see if there are four negative energies. Okay, wanted to see if these four negative energies could be worked with, and none of the rest of our universe or the trillions of other universes have ever been able to work with these four negative energies. The rest of our universe and the trillions of others only exist in 10 positive energies. Now, our scientists are not even looking for those energies, so it'll be a long time before they actually discover them. But I was told that's the whole deal, is that creator wanted to see if we could work with these negative energies and assist in raising the vibrational levels of everyone. So that's creator asked for volunteers, and our souls volunteered for what's become known as the Earth experiment. And we were promised several things. One, to fast track the raising of our vibrational levels much faster than it had ever been for other souls. We were also promised that one day in the future, and this is something that has never been done in any of those trillions of other universes, one day in the future, all of our souls will merge into a creator, and we will become a creator who will take over this universe for the creator of this universe, and allow creator to go to a higher level. And just this past week, I was asking, well, I understand that the creator of creators, who has created all these trillions of creators, when it creates a new creator, it assigns an interest to that creator, trillions of different interests, which are far beyond what we can understand. That's, they just told me, don't worry about it, Tom. You cannot, it's far beyond. And so, um, so when we merged together, I asked just the other day, what will be our interest? And and I was told, Tom, nobody knows that all these other creators are sitting around waiting to see what's going to happen when you merge, because you're going to be the first to decide your own interests. And so all the other creators are sitting in the stands waiting for this to happen.
Okay, that's fascinating. Truly, really fascinating. And it does bring to mind when you talked about raising the vibration, and that's what I was referring to with Lemuria and the fall of Lemuria.
Mm-hmm.
Is this where these negative energies came in and had an effect on Lemuria? Is that really what caused Lemurians to
Well,
turn
it
on?
was all, yeah, because we were all working with this negative energy, within this negative energy, and within it, um, that's how they wound up developing weapons of destruction as part of being in this negative energy. So again, we've had to work all the way through that, all these destructions and everything. World War I, World War II, name it, to the point where we are almost there. That the people that will be living at the end of this century will have almost no conflicts.
Wow, thank you. That's really great. So the negative energies, do we know what those are? I mean, we can look
No.
out at our world and we can see an influence of
Oh,
negative
I've,
energy.
I've had
It's the opposite of
no,
love.
I've had a number of my readers email me and say, well, could the four energies be this, 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 and this? And every single time I'm told no. But I'm told that one day in the future, one of my readers is going to get very close, but won't be right there, but they'll get close. So I don't know when that's going to happen, but people have tried and so forth. Not yet.
Okay. And so in the meanwhile, or the kind while, we have these energies that each of us personally are dealing with. And so what is your thought on this? Is this where each individual, each soul, each heart makes that choice to learn between love, which is all there is, and other influences? Is that, and then we raised our hand high to come here to do this. And at the time, I remember saying how easy peasy to amplify love. And so here we are, though, and it's not so easy. It's very simple. It sounds simple, but
Sounds
it's not
simple,
easy. Yeah.
but
So,
everybody gets left and right and on and on and you know it that's why we need lots and lots of more people sending white light and love to the planet,
absolutely.
to push past this and love thy neighbor as thyself, as
Yes.
as the great master said.
So as you look out at the world, we all do our inner work and do our personal journey, but we also look out at the collective and we see that, wow, it's getting kind of hectic. But it's okay because it seems like it's a pressure cooker for people to remember love, simply surrender to love. What are your thoughts about these times that we're in right now and how it could possibly relate to Atlantis and Lemuria?
um, well, again, we go back, we're not going to destroy ourselves again, even though there are people that, if you sort of kind of keep an eye out, as I do, there are people saying, oh, we're headed for World War III, you know and we're not. um, uh, the the despots of the day are going to slowly fade away, or be jerked out of power, as recently happened in where was it? Sri Lanka, as an example. The people just got tired of it, and overthrew the leaders, and so that's, we just, if people now, one of the things I do, I have a free weekly newsletter, which I recommend everyone subscribe to, because it'll help you prepare for these presentations I'm going to be doing, and to see, because people are asking about soul questions and creator questions, and just in this week's newsletter, I was in a conversation with Oak Tree Soul. Every single tree, every single plant, everything in the universe is ensouled. And a lot of people, all the dogs and cats and animals, everything is ensouled because Creator said so. Everything must be. And that includes suns and planets and moons and even asteroids. Gaia, soul of of the planet Earth, ensouled a asteroid for millions of years, when all the galaxies were much closer together, and she would go from galaxy to galaxy, learning more and more, and continually asking Creator questions. I'm sure she asked Creator Benazir, as I would call it, but that's something. I mean, we all have the ability to speak to Creator. Just in, not this newsletter, but I think last newsletter, I had another conversation with Creator, and Creator says, Tom, please tell your readers that if they wish to speak to me, they can. I can have trillions and trillions, exact words, of conversations all going on at the same time. So don't think, you'd have to only go through somebody else. You can talk directly to me. And that's one of the things that's on my soul contract this time, is to encourage people to meditate and learn how to ask these questions yourself.
Yes, and that defines what we mean by the knowledge is within us. We know what we know within us. And we will be given it when we are in that relaxed state of meditation, recalling past life memories and all of that. All right, very good. So you mentioned the creator of this universe. Can you explain, for those, I can hear questions, and then you said that there's trillions of other universes. We truly are in a multiverse. So what is the difference between a creator of this universe and source, ultimate source? Is there a difference, or are these the same?
Creator says source is just another, well, or maybe it was Gaia that said source is just another word for creator. That's what it really is. People are just, it's like people calling Creator God or Allah or Vishnu, whatever. All these thousands of names that Creator has been called over time, but it's all just one Creator for this universe. Our Creator was created by what's called the Creator of creators. I call her Big Mama because this Creator of creators has created trillions of creators, all with different interests. And our Creator tells me that it was born sort of like in the middle. Okay, so it was around for a pretty long time, visiting other creations before Creator decided to create its own universe. And we have universes that are adjacent ours. We have one universe that we can see in our night sky, but we think it's part of our universe. But eventually the James Webb telescope will see that these galaxies are completely different than the galaxies in our universe. And, and that eventually it will see that there is a dividing line of several million miles between, and it could be hundreds of millions, I'm not sure, between our universe and the next one over. Okay, so there's, there, but we even have on Earth, there are 60 portals. One of the portals on Earth actually goes to this other universe. And for us to look in on that universe to see the differences at some time in the future. On the far other side of the universe, there are two other universes, but we can't see those because they are so far away. And this James Webb telescope that just presented this fantastic view deep into space, they will conclude, and it's going to take the astronomers 3 or 4 or 5 years to finally conclude this, because they don't want to come out and then everybody laughs at them if they're wrong. So they'll check and recheck their figures, but they'll conclude that the universe, instead of 13.5 billion, is 20 billion years old. And in reality, this James Webb telescope has not been able to even see the far end of the universe that is actually 25 billion years old. So that's all in our future too, for the astronomers and scientists to learn.
Yeah, that's going to be fascinating as that reveals itself and
Yes.
tells us more. And you mentioned that the scientists are not even looking for the 4 negative energies that
No.
are out there. So that'll be very interesting. Yes.
But that's
So,
why you have to understand. I mean, that gets into one other thing that I'll mention. People wonder, well, why are all these UFOs in the sky, and what are they doing? And are they a danger to us, and all this other stuff? And no, they're not. They're all taking millions of readings every single day to see the effects of these 4 negative energies on us and even on the planet. They take readings of plants, and you might see a UFO, or you may have heard of UFOs that land in forests. They're taking instrument readings, and so that's all they're doing every single day. There's actually about 25 of these huge motherships that are orbiting the Earth, and they all have scout ships. And of course, they mask themselves. They move up like a frequency or so they can't be seen and frighten us to death. And so that's all they're doing, is every single day they're taking these millions of readings, because they're millions and millions of years ahead of us scientifically.
yes, it is really fascinating. And you communicate with an ET. So for those, I can hear this question from our audience. How would one cultivate a relationship with an extraterrestrial?
Well, first of all, when you meditate, and I believe in this in this first session we're going to do on Atlantis and Lemuria, I'm going to put people into a very light meditative state, so light it's like waking up from sleep and you're remembering a dream. That's where you want to be, and that's the meditative state where you can ask questions. So, as an example, I get all these questions from all over the place. Okay, and I write it down, and one sheet typically equals about an hour and a half or 2 hours in this meditative state. And I will sit at this computer, and I'll type in the questions, and then I'll receive the answers. And it may be from Gaia, soul of the earth, or it could be from Theo, my guardian angel. And I recommend starting with your own guardian angel, because that is your protector. Um, that's the being that loves you dearly, has been with you all your lives on earth, and then eventually you can ask, is there an ET that I can communicate with? And maybe one of the persons on the ship will communicate with you. It may be from your home planet. Antura is from my home planet, which is a water planet in the Sirius B star system. He's an amphibian, like I've had thousands of lives as an amphibian, and he's here with a first contact team orbiting the Earth, and I'm supposed to meet him next year. We'll see. I'm supposed to do a documentary on board a spaceship. We'll see.
We'll see. You won't be holding your breath, or maybe you will. You'll just hold out.
He told me that in 2013. Okay. So that'll be 10 years. Now,
Okay.
universal years, well, I should say Earth years are 10 times faster than universal years, because they're trying to catch us up with the rest of it's going to take us a while, but they're trying to help us catch up, where we will actually start going to the stars in 3250, pardon me, 3250. And my next life on Earth is going to be as a female space pilot in the 3400 era, as one of the space pilots of one of 17 Earth starships. And so that's my next life on Earth. I've got one back on Nomo, the water planet, in between.
Well, thank you, Commander, for your work.
No, I'm just going to be one of the pilots. I don't think I'll be commander, but who knows? We'll see.
Wow, okay. Really, we can go very deep with you, and this is going to be a great opportunity for folks in a live webinar on Zoom to come in and ask you their specific questions. And you talked about this presentation on Atlantis and Lemuria. Tell us more about the depth of this presentation, how long it is, and what you're going to cover.
Okay. In this webinar, this is going to be the same one that I did a presentation at the Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles, but they charge more, so people are getting a good deal when they watch it online here, and it's going to be approximately 2.5 hours. I'm going to go deeply. I'll have maps of where Atlantis is located, where Lemuria is located, where the islands of Poseidia and Erin were located, and we're going to just take a really, I'll say, a more complete look at the people that were having lives in Atlantis, how far advanced they were able to get, even how far advanced the Lemurians got, and why both of them no longer exist, and why we have to understand that no one is going to destroy the world like we did twice before.
At least, right?
Or 3 times if you count the little one.
Well, we're excited for that. Again, you've got a PowerPoint presentation that you share with all of that information, and it's a good time for people to ask their own questions about their own recall of Lemuria and Atlantis, and that helps us put together the puzzle pieces of this whole journey. And so
it helps us know our history, and that's important.
Yes. And it comes from within us and our own information that we get from within us. Now, some would call this imagination or nonsense. What do you do for yourself to trust this link, to trust this information, that it's
Sure.
not just imagination?
In the early stages, okay, of my communications, um, I found that when I thought I knew the answer to a question and I got something completely different, I knew I was receding. Okay. Well, because, you know, you can, these thoughts all come to us through the pineal gland in the back of our heads, and what people in Eastern religions and all call the third eye. Okay, that's the same thing. It's the pineal gland, acts as an antenna for all types of telepathic information. You name it, give it a name, and that's what it is. And so so that's where we're getting what's called these thought packets, they're called. Okay, so this thought packet will come in through the pineal gland, and it will be it'll be absorbed into your brain, and the answer will be according to what your education is, what your religious beliefs are, and so on. So that 10 people could ask the same question and probably get 10 different answers. So I try my best to be as neutral as I possibly can when I'm asking these questions, so that, and even at that point, if it's what someone doesn't believe, they get all mad and they jump off they cancel the newsletter. So it's just the way life is. And but I really try and be as neutral as I possibly can. And it's so when I put people in to this light meditative state at this session, then I'm going to want you to have 2 or 3 questions, or 4, or whatever, that you think you might ask, because I'll put you under, and then I'm going to be quiet and let people type the answers or write it. But I don't want anyone laying on the on the floor. You'll go to sleep, and you won't get anything out of it. So you don't have to put yourself very far under in order to get this information.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for this. We are excited for it. And questions about Tellus, Mount Shasta, all this stuff is here for the asking. And again, we do it from within ourselves in this relaxed space, and
Yep.
that would become our truth. Really exciting. And the piece that I think about as we close our conversation as well is the creator being of this universe. And you mentioned that we're all the souls here, plants, animals, everything, will merge into one new creator being. Did I
No,
get that right?
no, only the human souls.
Oh, okay, only the humans.
Only the human cells. All these plants and animals and everything, they're going to remain on Earth, and Earth is going to become a tourist attraction for people all over the universe when all of us leave in 7,000 years.
It'll take 7,000 years for that merge.
Well, no, it's going to take probably millions. We'll all go back to our home planets and assist people in raising their vibrational levels. But it'll eventually happen.
Okay, that is the evolution of humanity. That's where we're going. Okay. So little by little, we make our way, and we make our way in love and amplifying love and remembering love. As we close our conversation, I want to invite everyone to check out the course that's up here on this webpage. Please join us. Please join Tom on Zoom and bring your questions. This is a beautiful time to explore this topic even deeper, 2.5 hours, and then there's space for questions on that. So as we close our conversation, Tom, any final thoughts about your mission here on our planet?
Oh, Uh, I'm now here we get into something where some people will say, oh, yeah, here we go. I'm told I'm one of 10 oldest souls living, having a life on earth. Uh, I'm at 1,005 lives. Most people on average only are supposed to have 600 to 800 lives on earth. And here I am at 1,005. When I heard that, I said, I must be a slow learner. And I was told, no, Tom, you keep coming back to push people along. So I eventually asked, well, how many more lives do I have? And they didn't kind of want to tell me, oh, over 100. And so finally I pushed and pushed, and they said, uh, I said, 500? No, no, it's only going to be 300. So I've got 300 more that I'm supposed to be advising leaders of countries and things like that. So
Okay. Well, thank you for your service and thank you for inspiring others to step into their service as well and for assisting the planet at this time. Wonderful work that you do, and we are in gratitude for you. Again, register for Tom's workshop right here on this webpage and bring your questions, and you will receive the answers and the information. Thank you so much, Tom.
I look forward to seeing everybody.
Thank you.